Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'm going to be working on this ash tree. I collected this tree 2 years ago from the front garden, and I did one of the most brutal root prunings on this tree possible. It was quite a mess, the root system, so it's been growing in this large pot for 2 years now. And today I'm going to be styling the tree up and repotting it. The last time I worked on this tree, I did a major cut here to this branch, and I sealed it, and nothing grew out of that branch. I don't think it's dead. There looks like there could be a bud coming on the bottom, but it didn't grow since I last pruned it. I had picked this as the front of the tree, kind of showing the curved trunk. And I left all these suckers growing up at the base. I left all my options open for styling. I even debated cutting the main trunk off and growing it as a clump style. But I don't think I'll do that. I might as well use the trunk I have. So I think the first thing I'm going to do today is to remove all these suckers that are growing up at the base of the tree and try and clean it up so I get a fairly smooth trunk line. Here is a look at the trunk close up, so you can see all the suckers that have grown. So I'll just prune them off roughly at first, and then I'll come in and clean up all those cuts. So ash trees in Canada here have just been decimated by the emerald ash borer. Pretty well all the big ash trees that were growing are dead now. So this is kind of a survivor. So I'm going to clean out all these suckers, even this stump here. I'm going to remove that. So there's some growing up at the back here, which may not stay as the back, but so those are gone. And then I've got a low branch here. I'm going to get rid of that also. Some more suckers here. And then I've got this area. It was quite hard to water the tree with all these suckers growing up around the base. So this will make it a little more tree-like, and it'll be easier to water. So next I've got to clean up all these lumps. Alright, I'm going to start the cleanup work now. It will be quite interesting to see what the root base is like on this tree. How it's grown in 2 years. So I want to remove this kind of dead lump here. The bottom part of it was alive, but tough wood, this ash. Most wooden baseball bats are made out of ash. It's a tough, springy wood. So I don't know, if this tree will get attacked by the emerald ash borer. I hope they're disappearing now that all the ash trees are pretty well gone. I'm hoping this tree survives. Usually those borers don't go after small trees. They go for the big ones, but you never know. And I don't think it's the borers themselves that kill the tree. I think they carry some kind of fungus or virus or something with them that kills off the tree. I noticed, a lot of the ashes that did get killed off by the emerald ash borer, they're regrowing from the root base. They usually cut the trees down, the ones that are infected, and then they sucker up from the root base just like mine did here, and they start growing again. So maybe we'll see a resurgence with the ash trees here. So this is going to leave, a fairly big wound at the base of the tree here, but I think it'll close over fairly quickly, being on the trunk line. I'll get lots of growth up top on the tree, and this wound should callus over in a few years and hopefully disappear someday. Now some of the older ashes in pictures I've seen do have a lot of kind of ball-shaped growths at the base of the tree. where suckers have grown up and died off, and that cycle just repeats and they get some pretty bizarre gnarly trunks on them. But I'm going to try and grow this as, you know, a fairly smooth trunk. You can see on some of the other wounds how it kind of bulges up over the wound, so I'll want to carve it a little concave. That might be about as flush as I can get that. And then as the roots grow and this trunk thickens up, it'll kind of, and I'm sure there'll be a collar grow around here, and then someday it'll blend in. So the next one, I want to reduce this back, but you know, I want to keep this living vein growing between these two cuts. So I won't take this one back as far, because I don't want to risk, you know, killing off this whole section of the tree here. I want to keep this part living, and maybe I'll just have to live with the bulge for now. Yeah, I think that's as far as I want to take that back. And then I've got kind of a bulge here. I'll just take it back a little bit where I remove those branches. That's about it for that one. Around the back here, I have one here I can take back a bit. Like that. Yeah, you can see some of these cuts. They're creating quite a wound collar. This one's almost healed over, and it'll smooth in eventually. Okay, so that's got the base of the tree cleaned up. Oh, I forgot. There's a few suckers that were growing up here that I need to trim back. And there's a weed in there I want to dig out. There. Yeah, so I could take that back just a little bit more. Like that. Okay. Oh, there's some here. Oh, and another one here. Okay, so that's got all the suckers pruned away. So let's have a look at the styling of the tree, see what I've got left here and where I want to take it. Here is a look at the tree now. So let me just go to where I kind of chose the front. Yeah, that's a possible front. Huh. Big wound there. Big lump here. Yeah, it's a pretty lumpy looking tree, but you know, when ashes do get old, they get pretty lumpy. So I think the trunk divides into two here, and I think I'll keep that. I do want to shorten it a bit, trim all these upper branches back. I mean, you have to have your trunk divide somewhere eventually. Otherwise, you just get a single tree trunk and your branches look kind of silly coming off of it. It doesn't look very ash-like. So I think I'll start by pruning off some of these branches growing on the inside. So right here I have a branch that's growing up against the other trunk line, so I'll take that off. Like that. I'm going to shorten these branches. You can see there's a pair of buds, horizontal buds here, and they alternate. The next set of buds is vertical. There's one on the top and one on the bottom. So I'll trim it halfway between the nodes, allowing this branch to die back and these buds to activate. I've got a branch here. There's a set of buds way down here. There's some up here. So I'll just take the tip off. I'm hoping these ones activate and it grows. If I take it back to here, it's possible that branch could die off. But I better take that risk because I don't want this long straight section here. So we'll see how it does. You can see in the past, here's one I pruned off and I don't see any growth on it. So yeah, sometimes pruning doesn't always work out. There's a set of buds on this branch here, here and here, and then there's some up here as the next set. So I'm going to take this back to here. Ching. And here's another one that I pruned and it's just died back. So this one, I'll take it back to here, like that. Up here, I'll clean this stub out. Clean this dead stub off. And I'll prune this one to here. And this one has buds down here, so I'll prune it to there. And it's dividing from 1 to 3, so I'll take off the branch on the inside here. Dividing it from 1 to 2. And then this one, there's a set of buds here, so I can take it off here. This branch, I'll take it off here. I've got a tall branch growing here. There's buds down here, so I'll take it off here. This branch, there's buds here, so I'll take it off there. And this one off to here. I've got one growing here that I'll want to reduce back, like that. And then I've got to remove my dead branches. So this one's coming off like that, and I'll clean that up a bit. Like that. There's a dead one here I can take off. Yeah, I don't know how good these ashes are for bonsai. I can see, you know, this whole top is dead. There's a vein going up to this living part, and there's a vein feeding this branch. But this V shape here is dead. And I don't know if this branch is going to grow down here. I can check to see if it's still green, just by scraping a section of the bark. I'm not seeing any green in there, and I can see the living part has a difference. This part is sort of tan color and this is a darker color, so I think it's dead from here up. Yes, definitely dead. So yeah, you can see it here. You can see the trunk color, and then there's a change in color. So this is all dead. So I better remove that. I'll come in with the ratcheting pruners. I'll just prune the top off first, just in case, you know, I'm wrong. Hardwood. And I'm not wrong. You can see there's no green, there's no living tissue in here. It's absolutely dead. So, off it comes. I'll take it back to here. So here I go. Hopefully you can see that. Can you see that? Yeah, so off it comes. Yeah, you can see it was green at the base and the top of it was dead. So I will nibble that back too. Trying to keep my trunk reasonably flowing and good looking, without a lot of bulges and that in it. So these ash trees, when they're in the ground, you can pretty well do anything to them and they recover. But I think because this one was collected, maybe it wasn't as strong as a tree growing in the ground, and instead of generating new branches in this area, the branch just died back. I've got a dead part up top here that I need to clean up. It's a big chunk of dead wood. And I'll seal all these cuts with rubber cement. I don't want insects entering these deadwood sections. There's some more dead branches here I can clean up. So I'm just looking at the trunk again. This is being cleaned up nicely. So this top here is dead. I could clean it back, but I'm going to leave it. I'm going to wait until this branch gets stronger before I carve away that top part. So that's got the tree reduced to all living tissue now. There's no dead branches on it. Yeah. So my next task is to repot the tree. It's in this giant pot, which, you know, it might do okay in here for several years, but I want to get the root system better. I want to develop a nice radial root system. It's quite possible in the soil that, you know, there's one thick root taking off and the rest are just going to stay skinny. So yeah, I think the root system is important, and especially on this ash tree, I want to get a nice root flare at the base. So this pot has a bit of a lip on it, a constraining lip. So I don't know how easy it'll be to get out. It's loose in the pot, but it may be tough to get out. So I'll get my tray out to catch all the soil and stuff and debris, and then I'll try pulling it out of the pot. If it won't come out, then I may have to come in and cut some of the roots on one side and kind of pry it out. All right, let's see if I can get this out of the pot. Sometimes you can kind of wiggle them out of these lip pots. It is coming. There it goes. Okay. That is out. So I will take the pot away. Ugh. I won't worry about making a mess because I have already made quite a mess in here. Cleanup required on aisle 5. So it looks like I had perlite in the bottom of the pot. I don't know if you can see that, as a base layer, and then the bonsai soil up top. So let me get the pot out of here and I'll clean up a bit, and I'll start combing out the root system. So I'll remove my front marker. It may change. I did a lot of, moving branches and stuff today, so I will reevaluate the front when I go to plant the tree. And I'm hoping to put the tree in a new pot. It doesn't need to be in that giant pot anymore. That was just because it was the only pot I had that would fit the tree at the time. So ash trees grow, very fine fibrous root systems. They're good trees for growing roots. And they're quite easy to collect because of that. They're kind of like a boxwood tree, or some of the, what's another tree? Buckthorn. They generate a lot of roots, a lot of fine roots. close to the trunk so you can dig them up fairly easily. Now this one did have a lot of thick roots on it. So I'll work away. My goal is to bare root the tree, wash the root system. So I'll just work away carefully and then we'll come back for the root pruning. I have got the root system washed, bare rooted. I'm just making sure it stays moist while I do the root pruning. I'll have to rewash it again. There's still some field soil in here from the garden, but I want to do some preliminary root work first and then I can wash it further. So here is a look at the root system. So there's one root here. Here's the radial direction and it's cranked way over. Not so good. There's roots deeper down here. But I think, you know, my soil surface will have to be here. There's a lot of radial roots coming out at that level. And I think, yeah, there's not much down below. So that will be my root plane here. And I don't know if this root is alive here. I guess it is. It just looks a dark color. So I think my first thing I better do is address this root that's cranked over. I don't, you know, there's a bump on the top I'll take off. I don't think it's, you know, possible to move it or anything. I think it's, yeah, I don't even know what's in this area. It's so kind of congested with roots that I can't really comb that area out very well. I will try, but there's a lot of roots in between roots here. Okay, so that root, you can see it comes out on an angle. There's another root here that's pointing a bit more radial. I could cut it off here, and I will, as a first step to correcting that root, if I can get in here. I'll just have to blindly cut. I don't know what's under here, roots or soil or something, but it's jam-packed. Okay, so there's that part of the root off. So, you know, maybe as this one grows and thickens up, it's more in a radial direction and I can reduce that root back into the future. There is one here, so I could take even more off as opposed to more on. Yeah, there's something. Oh, this was a huge root. See that? That was cut off. Huge root. So that must be, this root must be on top of this root, the lower one, and maybe they've even fused together. No, I'm able to move this one, so I'll try and move it over without breaking it. See if I can reposition it there. Well, that's a little more radial. It's still not very good. I mean, here's radial. That's about 30 degrees off of it. However, you know, as I said, I can grow more roots. So that big thick root underneath here, whew, that's a biggie. No wonder I couldn't wash this section. It was just packed with soil and roots. Okay, well, let's keep the root pruning going here. I'll prune this one off the top here. There's one sticking up here I'll take off. One sticking up here I can take off. Couple out towards the edges here. That gets that root back a bit. I'll have to rewash that. And, there's a bit sticking up here. Let's keep going around. Nice root there. Not much in this area. But these are all good roots. All these radial roots. There is a weed there. Get that out. There is another thick one, and you can see this one. Here's the radial direction, and again, it's cranked way over. For this one, I'm going to cut it off at the base here, leaving just part of the root. So kind of right about there. Because I have a lot of roots growing around in this area, so that gets rid of that. And I've got lots of nice radial roots in this area now. There's one kind of growing down too far here. So you can see there's a lot of roots down below. And I've got to find the origin of them in here somewhere. So here's a root I can cut off. There's another one here. Just trying to get this flatter on the bottom. And once I rewash it, I might be able to do some more work on those roots. Flattening them out even more on the bottom of the root base. There's a few long roots here I can snip back, just to make the root system a little more compact. Okay, I'm going to rewash the root system now, clean out further so I can see better what's going on here. I am back for round 2 of the root pruning. So I've got this low root here that comes out here, so that can be pruned off. So I'll reach in here and just prune that away. It's a pretty thick root, but these ratcheting loppers should get through it, no problem. There we go. That's off. Then I've got a few more roots sticking out the bottom here. I'll get rid of that one. And then I've got this one, which comes from somewhere in here. Prune that away. Just flattening out this root system on the bottom here. It's looking better. So now the tree sits upright, which is good. So now I'm going to look at all these surface roots again. This was my big problem one. I sure don't like that, the way it's over. I know if I move it anymore, it'll split away at the base. And I wonder if I should just cut it. It's straight. I'm going to cut it. Like that. So there's that big lump of a root here. Whew. So I probably should saw that off. You can see the trunk comes down. It curls around to that big giant root. It would be nice to saw it off. And I can do that. I'm just worried about damaging roots in the process. But I think if I come in from this angle, I can do it. So I'm going to do that. I'll get my saw and I'll do it outside, and I'll just come in and saw that root off. Maybe I can even do it inside here. I think. Maybe not. Keep sawing. There it goes. Whoo! Big cut there. Holy. So there's my tree now. Big cut on the bottom. Wow. So that's a big step forward for the tree, getting that reduced. I can just nibble away a bit to make that a little more even on the bottom, or a little flatter. Yeah, I'll just take a bit off of here. I didn't damage the roots around it, which is good. So I think that was a fairly good angle to come in with the saw. I can tell how old the tree is here. It's one. I would guess around 20 years old, this tree. And it just grew from a seed in the front garden all by itself. I didn't plant it. A volunteer seedling. I'm pretty sure it didn't know what it was volunteering for here, but okay, there we go. The tree sits. So I will now comb out the remaining roots. And do more root pruning. I am not done yet. So this long one here, I need to reduce it back. There's a lot of fine roots on it, but they'll regrow. I want to take it back to here, but there's not much subdividing, but I will. There's no point having a big long root, and maybe I should reduce it back further. Like that. I gotta take this one back even further. It's kind of still on an angle there. There. These ones I'll just take back. There's a thick one here. That one needs to get cut back. Like that. Okay, I think that's about it. I think I've taken it down as far as I dare. Not much in this side. I took a few big roots off, but hopefully something will grow in this area now. Yeah, time will tell. Okay, it's time to plant the tree. I've got a pot picked out for the tree. It's, I think, the perfect size. Not too big, not too small. The roots fit in there nicely. Yeah, I think that'll be good. It's not a very good quality pot, but it'll do. At least for a year or two, and then I'll get it in a better pot. I've got my drainage screen in the bottom of the pot. I'm going to put a mound of soil and then position the tree. And I think I'll reuse that soil. It was in really good shape. There's no weeds in it much, and it looked healthy and loose, and there wasn't a problem with it. So I'll go outside, put a mound of the used soil on the bottom, and then I'll put the new soil in around the roots. Okay, so I've got a pile of soil there. So now I can position the tree in the pot. think somewhere about there is pretty good. I'll just make sure my roots are combed out. Making sure they're nice and radial. So it's tight in this pot, but that's probably good. It'll, the soil will dry out quickly. I'll do frequent waters and fertilizing on it, and it'll help it grow new roots. Okay, so now I can fill it in with soil. I'll just show you a shot of the roots in the pot. So there's a shot of the roots. You can see they fill the pot, and it should be good to develop a fine fibrous root system, hopefully, you know, all around the trunk of the tree. So I'll put my dust mask on and start filling in the new soil around the roots. Now, I just remembered, before I get too far, I'm going to seal that cut with rubber cement here. Oh, Julian's home. I can hear the Fiat. I'll seal all these other cuts up too. You can always hear when Julian's coming and going with his little Fiat. And then I'll start working that soil in. And I think that's enough soil. The tree is ready to be watered. All right, here I go, watering the tree. Here's a look at the tree now. I'll rotate it around, so I don't know where the front is, but rotating around. Yeah, I think the front might be somewhere here. I don't know. Could be anywhere. So that is the ash repotted. I definitely took my ash tree down to the limit today. I wouldn't want to take any more root off than that. And I'm hoping the tree survives and develops a really good root system under it. I've taken the first steps to develop that nice root system. The rest is up to Mother Nature. So I'll just keep my fingers crossed on this tree, and I'll give you an update later on. So that is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.